Hey guys, good afternoon. Welcome back to our channel. How's everybody doing? I hope you're well. Thanks for joining me, and I want to say a big thank you to you guys for engaging with the video where I talked about selling my property in Nigeria. Thank you so much. There was a lot of engagement on that video. People leaving comments. I'm looking at it now. A lot of people that could relate, that have had similar issues of tenants from hell. Oh my God. And some people said that it's not even Nigeria alone. And some people were sharing their experience of even renting here in the UK, in the US, and experiencing similar issues with tenants who vandalize property, who, they just use the property anyhow, and at the end of the day you're having to spend a lot of your hard-earned income to renovate it before you can even put it out, for rent again. So thanks a lot. But I wanted to bring it back again to talk about this because a lot of people were saying, oh, use it for short let, use it for Airbnb. Use it for Airbnb. A lot of comments and people were saying use it for Airbnb. And I wanted to address that because I think for investment properties, the conversation is usually around, should I rent long term or should I put it on Airbnb or short let? So I wanted to have that conversation with you guys so that those of you who are doing that business can share with me. Okay? So I don't have experience of doing Airbnb or short let. However, I'm very, very cautious. The reason why I'm cautious about it is because of some of the horror stories, again, that I've seen on social media where people have shared that their properties were ruined or destroyed by, what do they call them? They are not tenants, they are guests. Yeah, the guests who stayed in their short-let property or they stayed in their Airbnb. I mean, take a look at some of the stories on social media.
This is why some short-let guests needs to be banned from using a service apartment. And these clients are called the messy guests. I mean, they litter everywhere. So this client booked an apartment for 4 nights. And this is what he left behind. A total mess, littered everywhere. When it comes to booking a service apartment, we always say treat it as you would your own house. They charge you for extra cleaning. You will say the short-let host is mean, but this is a total mess. You know, as much as you pay for a service apartment, you should actually treat it as you would your own home. Come on. Are you here for demolition or for vacation? And the client is asking me for his caution refund. If you are in my shoes, are you going to refund him for this whole mess?
No. Whose card is that? I gotta get out.
This is how our clients left our short-let apartment after their stay. As you can see clearly in the video, they literally stained the rug with soup. Now let's take a look at the dining area. The whole dining area is in a big mess when we clearly have trash bin baskets in the apartment. Now let me take you guys to the room. What's that orange packet on the floor? I didn't say anything, no. Please, I have a question. If this were to be your personal space, would you litter it like this? For instance, when you get a bottle of water in your fridge and you're done having it, would you dispose it on the floor or you take it to the trash bin baskets in your house? Dear guests, help us keep the apartment tidy by using the trash can. As always, thank you so much for watching. Bye.
I had a guest once that told me he fell from the bed and punctured a hole in the wall. Up till now, I'm still trying to figure out, how did you fall from a queen size bed? It's not a twin size, so a full size bed. He said he fell and he punctured a very big hole in my wall. Of course, you know now, Airbnb will pay for it, so they paid for the repair. I have another guest that checked in. They booked a one-night stay. After checking in, it was when it was a checkout time. I went on site to see the property. On me getting there, they took all my towels. They took all my hand soap. They took all my toilet paper. They took my paper towels. I'm still trying to process why they did that. Maybe they are trying to cover up for their money. I have no idea. But that was another experience. Another experience, I have a guest that booked the house and left with my house key to New York. He took the house key with him to New York. Up to now, I'm still trying to process it. I called him. I'm like, hey, I think you have the house key. And he's like, oh, I forgot. I don't know what to do. I don't know. How can you forget to carry a whole house key with you to New York? I have this like auto key that you can press button on. But sometimes I try to put like a spare key for them, because some people will say, oh, they're having troubles. They're trying to press this. It's not working, of course. So I have that key, and I have to change the entire house lock. This guy did not return my key home. I changed the entire house lock.
Airbnb host said that a guest, a young girl who was staying in their apartment, destroyed the apartment because she said that the AC was not cooling. This was a while ago. You see what she did? Wrote something, used a marker to write on furniture. She ruined some of the painting, decoration that were in the flat or house. Yeah. And of course, you've heard some of the experience that people have shared about. I'm not saying this is in all cases, right? Some people have not had issues. But again, we are talking about risk. You have to always measure it, looking at it from the deep end. Especially if you live in a diaspora and the property is in Nigeria. So a lot of people are saying, give it to a lawyer, give it to an estate agent to manage the property. What I've realized, I've always had an estate agent. But what I've realized with the estate agent that I've had dealings with is that they don't take things very seriously. So at the end of the day, they're always deferring to the landlord. If anything happens, they defer to you. So they are not, I don't know. Maybe it's lack of experience, I don't know. But I've not found estate agent that I can really say that I've dealt with in the past that I trust, or that I can say they are doing their job efficiently. Someone was saying in that video that in Switzerland, that the landlord will request 3 months caution, enough to cover any damages before you can rent. And the 3 months caution is returned. Part of it will be used to repair any damages that the tenants have caused. I wish you can do that. I know they have a caution fee in Nigeria, but as I said in my previous video, I didn't take it because the person was begging me that they didn't have it. So I used my good mind, my church mind, my empathy mind to say, okay, big mistake. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't allow them to brainwash you and to beg you. Yeah. So this short let one, yeah, we talked about, tenants from hell in terms of, when you rent, how tenants destroy property. Some of them, I've had stories of tenants that will not even pay. Like when they pay the initial one and they get into the property, after a year or two, they don't pay anymore. Somebody had told me a story about how they literally have to go to court. I hear that the laws in Nigeria are so very, very strenuous now on the side of the tenants. May the Lord not allow us to encounter evil people in this world. Because I find that people that don't have what you have, it's easier for them to destroy when they have access to that similar property. If you're a homeowner and you live in another person's home, before you think of destroying it or, using it anyhow, not caring for it, you think about your own property. I need to take care of it. If somebody did this to me, how will I feel? But you see, most of these people that stay in other people's flats or property, they don't care. They do not care. So, somebody shared with me about how they literally had to go to court. For years, people were staying in their property, they didn't pay. Yes, that's how bold tenants are now. Shebi me, I'm moaning about tenants here. Imagine not paying. And on top of that, they will still spoil the place. So I'm glad that some people were saying that even they had properties similar to the conversation in the last video, and they locked it up after the wahala of tenants became too much for them. So that's one of the risks of long-term renting. There are issues of, if they want to stay there, they are not paying. They say, oh, I lost my job, I don't have money. You can't throw them out anymore, apparently. It's a long process, and you will be spending your own money to go to court to go and evict a tenant. Previously, what I did with that property was that when I wasn't receiving payments, I went to Nigeria years ago and I got SARS. That's when they used to have SARS. I paid them money to evict the tenants. I don't think you can do that anymore. So, long-term renting, tenancy, long-term has its own risk. But the short-term one, that a lot of people say, put it on Airbnb, put it on shortlist, put it on shortlist. One thing I've discovered, again, is that once you live abroad, and the people staying there knows that you live abroad, they have a tendency to do anything they like and think they can get away with it. So if you are not there to manage it properly by yourself, and you, for instance, you give your property to someone and say, okay, let's do Airbnb business or shortlet business. Because it's not like I can't set up Airbnb on my own. It's an app. All you have to do is download it, set it up, take pictures, whatever, and you set it up. But what about maintenance? What about, even if you're cleaning, you need to have someone that will clean when guests go. Access and all that you need to consider. Yes, you can get someone to manage all that for you, but at the end of the day, how effective is it going to be? So I like you guys to share with me, those of you who are doing Airbnb or shortlet businesses in Nigeria and you live in the abroad. How is it working? What did you have to put in place to make it work? Because again, electricity is a big deal in Nigeria. So you have a property in Nigeria that you have solar power. So you have electricity 24 hours a day. Now they put the NEPA, I don't know what they call them, the NEPA lights, that's the government lights. They put it in bands. And my understanding is that they have band A, B, and C, and something like that. If you live in an area where it is band A, the cost of electricity is very high. And so if you have a property in that band and you put it on shortlet or Airbnb, who is going to pay for the electricity? Are you going to ask your guests to pay? I really, really want to hear from you guys, because my experience from going to Nigeria in December, that thing was running like, even though they don't used to give light all the time, it's not like the light is stable, but still, you put like 20,000, 25,000, 3 days is gone. So don't you have to take that into consideration? And again, the most critical of the risks that I've talked about now is short stay guests that will come. And number one, security issues. Nigeria has a lot of security issues at the moment. What if somebody who is a criminal or a kidnapper or something? I don't know. I know I'm being extreme here, but you have to take everything into consideration. If they come and stay in your property, you are going to be responsible if they get arrested. Anybody that has anything to do with security, that have security issues, and the police or security forces get involved. Oh my God, no. So number one, security issues. Number two, again, guests who will not even think twice. Like that girl that said the AC was not working and decided to use marker to mark furniture, to mark and destroy painting. A property that you used millions to furnish. Imagine guests using marker to destroy it, because that marker cannot come off. So this is my thinking. Yeah, you guys, please, I need your advice. Over here, yeah, if you have a buy-to-let property or you have a property you want to put on Airbnb, you don't buy expensive furniture to put. You buy very cheap furniture, and you put all the white goods, which is the fridge, the washing machine, as well as the, what's it called, the microwave. Then you put cheap furniture. But where the property has already been furnished to your own taste, and you know you have very good high taste and you put expensive furniture, can you trust that people will use those things the way you yourself you use your property and they will not ruin it? That's another thing I'm worried about. What about all these horror stories about short stay, Airbnb, people who are hosts in Nigeria and they are sharing their horror stories? So I'd like to hear from you. If you have experience of doing Airbnb or short stay in Nigeria and you live in the abroad, how did you manage it? And most importantly, between Airbnb and long-term rents, which do you think works better or safer for the landlord? Please share your thoughts with me in the comment section. Let us continue to have this conversation. Remember, we are talking about passive income. We are trying to learn and learn. A lot of people have properties in Nigeria. They live abroad and they lock them up. In Africa, they lock them up. I even have comments on that video where they say, you know what, I couldn't deal. I just locked it up. Yeah. What do you think about short lets or long-term lets? Let me know in the comment section and I'll speak to you guys in my next one. Thanks a lot for watching. I appreciate you guys so much and I love you. Have a beautiful day ahead. Bye-bye.